Well, good morning from Bali. I just had breakfast at that place called Lily's. Full English breakfast, pretty decent, I have to say. Had a bit of a Balinese spin on it with what appeared to be lemongrass, the flavour of lemongrass in the hash browns. But very good indeed. So I'm just going to go for a walk on the beach now. And as you can see, like a lot of beaches in Bali, it's a black sand. So this looks absolutely beautiful, and the sun is shining bright. You're not allowed to swim here, not that I was going to. So I'm just going to go for a walk down the beach. And then where I just had my breakfast, you can sit there and have a cocktail and use gorgeous pool, infinity pool. If you have a couple of drinks while you're sitting there. So that's something that I will definitely be doing. Well, as I suspected, the weather has improved dramatically over the last week. Very little rain, beautiful sunshine. And as you can see, there's nobody on this amazing beach apart from me. Nobody's out walking. It's just so peaceful and so quiet. Nobody on the beach at all. And it's about 11:30, I think, something like that. Maybe a bit later. Some major surf there too. This is apparently a popular surfing spot, although it looks to me like you're not even allowed to surf. Maybe the waves are just too strong and the currents are too strong, and there's no lifeguard on duty. I think that's really the key. They'll probably allow you to get in the water if there was a lifeguard around. It's a nice, there's a nice villa right there on the water. Yeah, I actually really like this darker sand. It really pops out, the contrast between the blue of the sky and the beach is really really more vivid with the black sand. I like it. And it feels like regular sand. It's not like it's stony or anything like that. So I had a nice first night in my place where I'll be for the next 5 days. They've got a lovely pool there, and I think I'll be hanging out there this afternoon a little bit. I met a really nice Australian lady called Anna, who's traveling solo also. She's from Melbourne. Very nice person. And she and I may go and explore the rice fields. She said that there's some rice fields near where we're staying. So we may go to see those over the next couple of days. I'm not quite sure how long she's staying here, but anyway, it was nice chatting with her. Swapping war stories about what brought us here. Although she hasn't moved to Bali or to Southeast Asia, she still lives in Australia, but she's sort of about to retire, so she's seriously considering at least buying somewhere in Southeast Asia just as a retirement property, investment property. And she's been to Da Nang. She knows Da Nang very well and really loved that place in Vietnam in general. Yeah, not a soul out here. It's incredible. As you can see, I'm starting to catch the sun quite a bit, although I'm not burnt. I've been using a lot of cream on my face. And when I rode yesterday, it was a 2-hour ride, I had long pants on so that my legs were protected from the sun too, which seems to be what the locals do. It's a smart thing to do, really. And when you're on a motorbike, it's cooler anyway, obviously, because you're riding into the breeze. It's really pleasant. I'm so happy that I'm going around on a motorbike. Even the ride here for breakfast this morning was just beautiful. Went through these really remote areas. It took me about 15 minutes. It's very, very close to where I'm staying. But it's a very remote part of Bali. It's not super popular with the tourists, as you can see, because there's nobody around. But yeah, the ride was fantastic through the rice fields and through the little villages, and it's really open. Of course, the closer you get to the beach, the more open everything becomes, and the views become even more spectacular. So yeah, tremendous. Whoa. Water's getting waves are coming in pretty strong here. I better move over a bit. So yeah, I'm really not sure what I'm going to do over the next few days. You know, it's the usual thing here. There's the beach, there's lots of good restaurants, there's temples, there's waterfalls, there's rice fields, there's lots to see. But there's also, where I'm staying, a really lovely pool. I'm going to turn it around again. A really lovely pool. And the idea of just relaxing for a day or two with a cold beer and a good book is very appealing. Alright, I think this is as far as I can go, so I'm going to turn around. There's a huge place there, but it looks like it's abandoned. Maybe not. So that's a private home. It is absolutely massive. And what a view they have. I mean, it couldn't be any better. It's right on the beach. I must say, you know, after I lived in Florida for so long, the Gulf of Mexico, where there's no surf to speak of, so there's no energy and power and sound coming from the ocean. So I've always preferred surf, this type of place with crashing waves. So much better. It's like the proper ocean. It's Saturday today, of course, so we're watching Arsenal play tonight against Everton. I think it's at 7:30 my time. I'll just probably watch it on my laptop in my room. And then on Tuesday, of course, or actually Wednesday for me, it's Arsenal against Real Madrid in the quarter-final of the Champions League. Getting myself psyched for that. It's going to be quite an occasion, and I think Arsenal will definitely be underdogs going into it, but who knows. Got Bukayo Saka back, but then again we lost Gabriel, our defender, our best defender, along with Saliba. That was a bit of a disaster. So he's got a hamstring injury. He'll miss both legs, home and away. But I still think if we go for it, and the crowd's going to be extremely psyched up, we have a chance. I also think we're really good playing away from home, and so I'm not too worried about if we go to Madrid with a lead, you know, will we really struggle to hold on to it? I mean, obviously without Gabriel it's going to be tougher, but we still have a lot of good backup defenders. Anyway, for you non-football fans that might be listening to this, I'm sure you're absolutely fascinated by the last couple of minutes. But hey, as Bill Shankly once said, football is not a matter of life or death. It's much more important than that. I may as well just keep on walking in this other direction. I think I can go a little bit further. Even though the sun is really strong, there's a lovely kind of cool breeze, so it's kind of not unpleasant to be walking in the glaring sun. Of course I've got a sun hat, which really helps. But it's nice to go for a nice long walk after spending so many hours yesterday sitting on a motorbike. I did stop a few times though. There's a little rocky outcrop right here. Beautiful. That would be an amazing photograph if you had somebody stood on that rock with the waves in the background. Although it might be a bit dicey getting up onto that rock. Fantastic. It really is beautiful. Yeah, this is the place where I just had breakfast, and it looks like you can stay here too. Again, not busy. I was the only one eating breakfast. There was maybe a couple of people, 3 people at the pool, who presumably are staying there. But as I said, I'm allowed to use the pool too, because I've already had my breakfast there, and I might just have a mojito or something later on, and that means I can hang out here for a couple of hours, listen to some tunes on Spotify, relax, maybe read a book. Of course I always say maybe read a book, and I end up watching some trashy Netflix movie. Never mind. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to Da Nang. It's strange, you know, it's been like 3 weeks now, and I'll be back there in about a week, well, about 9 days. And it feels like I miss home, you know. I keep track of what's going on in Da Nang, you know, on various YouTube videos. And of course Vietnam's been in the news because they're going to be very impacted by Trump's tariffs, and apparently they're negotiating with him to try and minimize the damage. But it's something that won't affect me necessarily, but it will affect the local economy and Vietnamese locals in Da Nang, which seems incredibly unfair. And this whole tariffs thing is nonsense anyway, completely ill thought out and mean-spirited. And already the world economy seems to be tanking, which everybody said would happen, and it has happened. But Trump's not going to admit that he's made a mistake. He's going to stick with what decision he's made, because he's stubborn and he's a narcissist. Anyway, we shall see. But yeah, I do miss Da Nang, and I'm looking forward to going back there. And I still haven't decided where I'm going after Da Nang. I'm going to be there for at least a month. I've got my visa in the works for multiple entry, which means I can leave again after, say, a month or 6 weeks and go somewhere else. And I was thinking about Laos, which is still a possibility, but I'm also seriously thinking about Cambodia now, particularly taking a diving certification. I've already done some research on that, and that would just take a few days, you know, in some sort of like beachy resort area of Cambodia. There's a few places where you can do it, and the diving is supposed to be amazing there. So I would do that, get my certification, and then maybe go on a little tour of Cambodia for a couple of weeks. I don't know, we shall see. Of course, I'm coming back to the US in June, and then to England through a big chunk of July. It also looks highly likely I'll have to go back to the United States in September for a big meeting in Baltimore, which I really need to be doing myself with some help. So I think I'll be having yet another trip back to the United States in September, but that'll be it. And then hopefully, of course, I'll be coming to England at Christmas. We shall see how that works out. Alright, here's another lovely stretch. Looks like I can walk a lot further going in this direction. You see, there's a motorbike here. Apparently, you're allowed to ride your motorbike on the beach. Yeah, definitely you can, because you can see all the motorbike tracks here. And I did read that on the internet. I think you have to pay some ridiculously small amount, and then you can just ride up and down the beach, which would be very cool. Although I'm not sure I would do it with an automatic. I think you're better off with a semi-automatic doing that, or a dirt bike maybe. But it makes a nice change having a walk. Absolutely fantastic. There's the like catamaran fishing boats right there. There's another little beach cottage, and that looks like a bedroom. Look at that. That place right there is a bedroom, because I can see the mosquito net over the bed. Wow. Imagine going to sleep and waking up with that view. Amazing. That view and the sound too. That would really lull you to sleep, I think. The sound of the waves. The place I'm staying, they have, I don't know, 2 or 3 cockerels living around there. My God, what a racket they make in the morning. So probably 6:15. It's your alarm clock right there. And they just go on for at least half an hour, maybe longer. And you're wide awake, and then you fall asleep again. I met the owner of the Airbnb. His name is Armin, a lovely man, and I didn't see him yesterday. I think I met his wife, or maybe one of his workers, I don't know. But anyway, I met him this morning, and he sent me some links via WhatsApp of all the places he recommends around here, including this beach, of course, and then there's a bunch of restaurants, warungs as they call them, which are within walking distance of where I'm staying. And then various places where you can get groceries, etc. So yeah, there's a lot to see around here, I think. And I think it's a kind of place where you can just relax and not necessarily do something every day, especially since they have that lovely pool. And there seems like a nice group of people staying there, real mixed group. You know, there's some young people, there's some people middle-aged, my age. There was an American lady that I met from Philadelphia who is looking to settle in Bali. It's nice chatting with her. Okay, I've been yapping on here aimlessly, so I will carry on walking and I will be back in touch soon. Love you all.